What's up, everybody? Thought I would scope out some of these mint sets today that we bought in the auctions in September. Just to see if we could find any kind of errors, any kind of high mint state, anything like that. You know, the usual. Kind of just a continuation of what I was talking about the other day in the last video about why we buy mint sets and proof sets and things like that. So let's take a look. Start with a 1968 Philadelphia. Obviously, it's mint state. Dime. 68S nickel. And remember, these are still in the cellophane, so they're going to show reflections of, imperfections on the plastic that's on the outside of it. So some of the things that you see aren't necessarily going to be on the coin. And it's also kind of hard to do this, too, because obviously with the light reflecting down on it, it reflects back at you. But some of the primary things we're going to look for, obviously, is just going to be double dies, missing mint marks, and with the nickels, we're always going to look for full steps. This is the Philadelphia cellophane, but in this particular year, they also included the S mint mark nickel and penny. Yeah, sorry about that reflection. I'm trying to kind of angle it so that we can see all of the details. Without getting blinded. Now, I need to check the cherry picker's guide. I'm not sure. I don't remember anything for 1968 plain. But if you look right here at the bottom loop of the 6, there's a little bit of separation there. Something like that could be an indicator of a double die. Might get a little bit of a closer look at that at the end of the video. I don't necessarily see anything else doubled. Although there are parts of the Liberty that are kind of thick. So that 68 Philadelphia, we're definitely going to take a better look at that. 68S. And there's definitely some separation on that. Top of the 9 and the top of the 8. It almost looks like it's strike doubling, but not sure. So we're definitely going to take a better look at that and see if that's a real actual double die. It looks kind of flat, almost shelf-like. So that usually is an indicator of a strike doubling and not an actual double die. There's a little bit in front of his lapel there too. So that tells me it's probably going to be strike doubling. Oh yeah. Yeah, the whole face is showing what looks like strike doubling. Let's take a look at the Liberty if I can get a good view of it. Yeah, there's some on the top of the Liberty as well. Very little, though. Looks like also the S and the T in trust. But we'll take a closer look at that. Let's check out the reverse. Not a bad looking quarter, not a very good strike though. Actually, it's kind of a terrible strike. Yeah, not impressed with that strike. Let's take a look at the reverse of these pennies. A lot of spotting, which is fairly common actually in mint sets, especially older mint sets. All of those impurities in the copper and the planchet kind of come out, start to stain. I mean, you got to figure this is from 1968, so it's been in there for 51 years. Being locked up for that long inside of an airtight seal, it's going to start getting some interesting toning. Dime. Definitely not full bands on the dime. And then, let's go to the nickel. Cross your fingers for full steps. 1 in a million shot. Not full steps. There's steps there. It looks like the early stage of the die, actually, or this, I should say this is probably closer to an early stage of the die. So there is steps there, but it's not full steps, unfortunately. It kind of gives me hope, though. That's probably the most steps I've seen on a 68 nickel ever. I mean, it's pretty close. And again, all of these scratches up here are just from the cello from the mint set. In fact, actually, if you move the position of the coin, that's usually how we check to see if that's what it is. Yeah, see, and it's gone. So that's definitely what it was just on the plastic. All right, let's check out the Denver. 68 decent. It looks decent. Don't see any doubling there. Let me try to adjust this a little bit. See if I get it a little bit sharper. Yeah, I think that's a little bit better. More damage on that plastic cello. Dime. Older die state. Not a bad looking dime though. Let's take a look at this nickel. It's a decent looking nickel. %, Kennedy half dollar. Lots and lots of scratches across it here. That's definitely on the coin, not on the cello. This looks like it's probably on the outside. Let's check it out. Let's move this a little bit to see if it is. And it stayed pretty much in the same spot. Yep, so that's on the coin. No doubling there. Okay, let's take a look at the reverse. Typical poor strike on the quarter. Really poor strike. Definitely an older dice date for that thing. And the dime. Not quite full bands. No. I mean, I can see a separation there, but I don't think that would qualify. I don't know. What do you guys think? The top band's a little bit better, but I don't think it would work. I don't think they would call that full bands. And then actually here on the rim, you can see a little bit of extra metal that's been folded over from the die being a little bit misaligned. Scent showing that good old spotting. And undesirable toning. $50. Oof, terrible bag mark on the shield there. And that's something else to note too, is that these are just circulation, or these strikes, these mint sets are intended for circulation when they are first produced. Which means that once they're struck just like every other business strike coin. They're dropped into hoppers, they're dropped into bags. Well, I don't think they're dropped into bags, but they're definitely dropped into the hopper. So that's where that nasty bag mark right there came from. Then the mint workers are actually, they collect them and, of course, put them in these airtight seals. So that's why you can see stuff on here. It's not circulation, it's actually would be technically damage that occurred in the mint. Sometimes people mishandling them when they look at them, after they buy them and things like that can do it too. That's why you see a lot of these nasty looking indentations in the plastic from the coin getting rubbed against something. So that can happen post mint as well. But it's still not technically circulation. This is an uncirculated coin. Just not very pretty. Alright, cross your fingers for that full step nickel. Yeah, the reverse is a beautiful strike. But not full steps. It has a lot of steps, but it's not full steps. Let's see, we got one, maybe two full steps, and then it just kind of loses it right here. Bummer. Alright, that's the 68. Let's check out the 69 real quick. We'll start with Philadelphia. Quarter again, not a very good strike, nothing impressive. Yeah, see all these places right here in the plastic is where these coins were mishandled after they were produced. That's where damage can actually transfer to the coins inside of the plastic. 69S. And there's definitely something under that S mint mark. I don't know what it is, but we're definitely going to get a closer look at that. That's got me intrigued. Time. 69S cent. Something under that mint mark too, but I think that's just metal flow from the actual striking process. Heavy damage in the cellophane right there below the T. But let's make sure that that's not a die chip. Let's move that coin and see if that mark moves. And it did. Terrible, terrible scratches on this thing. Across the face. Let's see if those are part of the coin or if it's in the plastic. No, it's in the plastic. Okay, cool. So that's good news. 69 plain. Not a bad looking coin. These cents look actually a little bit better than the cents that were in the 68 mint set. Still have a decent amount of damage on them though. Let's take a look at this dime. Definitely not full bands by any stretch of the imagination. Quarter. And then cross your fingers for the nickel. There's quite a few steps there, but again, they're broken. That's a pretty good strike for a nickel, though, for this time period. Such a shame. Alright, so let's take a look at the Denver. Not much. Some more of that fold over from the off-center die. Actually fairly common on dimes, I've noticed. Probably just because of the small size. This nickel is a really beautiful strike. Decent looking reverse strike on this quarter. Really nice eye appeal. $69 Kennedy half. 40% silver, of course. No signs of doubling. A little bit of bag marks here. It's a sideways hit from a reeded coin. So basically just another $50 hitting that one on its side. Okay. We already looked at that, I believe. Did we look at the penny? I don't remember. Yeah, let's look at it again anyway. Okay. Nothing popping out yet. It's a shame because, man, the nickels are close. dime is definitely not full bands. Nothing odd on the Kennedy half dollar. Nothing spectacular about it. And then, of course, it's 40% silver. Quarter. Beautiful eye appeal, but not a good strike at all. I mean, at all. Believe it or not, though, it's actually a little bit better than most that I've seen from this time period, to be honest. All right, here we go. Time for the dime. Or, I'm sorry, the nickel. Beautiful looking so far. Nope. Definitely not. Not full steps. All right, I am going to pause it here, and then I'm going to adjust the scope a little bit so we can take a closer look at some of the interesting ones that we found. I'm just going to do the 68 and 69 today, mainly because there's a lot more to look for with those. But I will probably also do, of course, the 70, the 76, and all the other ones here and there. So we'll make this a multi-part video, but I will be right back with you guys. All right, we're back. Let's take a closer look at this 69S. And there's definitely something underneath it, but I think that that's probably just metal flow, more than likely. Although it looks like there might be a little bit of a separation right here on the 9, the bottom of that 9. If you look real close, you can kind of see where this sticks out a little bit farther, and there's definitely some sort of a line right here. It's obviously not the super expensive 69S double die. Can't get that lucky. However, it looks like there might be something here. What I usually do to make sure it's not the light playing tricks on me is I'll flip it over to see if it changes. No, it didn't change, so I would say there's probably something there. So we're going to take a little bit of a closer look at that for sure. There was nothing on that one, I remember. Let's take a closer look at this nickel at the steps. Yeah. Those steps are definitely broken. Such a shame. Alright. And I wanted to look at this one again because this 9 looks a little strange. And that could be metal flow from a worn die as well. It's kind of hard to tell. Same thing with the mint mark. But I'll research those a little bit better. Alright, then the 68S looks like it is definitely going to be strike doubling. Got my hopes up for a minute. And you can tell it's strike doubling because of how flat it looks. Almost kind of looks like a shelf. And you can see it here, here, a little bit on top of the mint mark. And that's something else to note too, because we can see it on the mint mark. That also tells me that it's strike doubling, because when it comes to them actually making the master hubs, which is the hubs that actually make the working dies for the coins, excuse me, that mint mark is actually added afterwards during this time period. I think it was 1989 and before. I'm not positive though. Don't quote me on that, but it was added afterwards So that means that if this is doubled as far as the date, that means that this mint mark is probably not going to be doubled. It does happen, but this is definitely strike doubling. You can see it in front of the lapel there again. It's above his chin, his nose, his forehead. Yeah, it's definitely strike doubling, unfortunately. A little bit on top of the eye and Liberty. Yeah, that's strike doubling. Let's take a look at this nickel again. There's a lot of steps there, but they're not complete. That's one of the big rules for a full steps coin, is that it has to be full unbroken steps. There's lots of breaks in that. It looks just kind of mushy, but there's steps there. It's definitely not one of the worst ones I've seen. And after taking a closer look at that 68 Philadelphia, I don't think it is a double die, but I'm not 100% sure. What's getting me curious about it is the top of this 6. This definitely looks like there's some sort of separation here. And you can see a little bit here, again at the bottom of the 6, kind of like the inside loop, and a little bit here at the 9. I don't necessarily see separation at the bottom of the 9, but it's kind of hard to tell. Let's flip it over a little bit and see if we can get a better angle with the light. I might take this one out of the mint set, actually, just so I can get a better look at it. That Liberty definitely looks thick, especially that eye. Alright, yeah, definitely might take a better look at that. I'm probably going to take that out of the cellophane. If I do find anything cool about it, though, I will let you guys know. Alright, and then we'll end it with the 68 Denver nickel. A little closer look at the steps. Well, there's definitely 2 fully struck steps there, but then it just kind of gets lost. You can kind of see right here on the 3rd step, ends here and ends here, so nowhere near full steps. But that's all I'm going to show you guys today, just the 68 and 69 mint sets. I mean, again, this is kind of just an example of how much time I invest in looking at all the stuff that we get. Because you never know what's going to be there. A lot of times when it comes to auction houses or private sellers, they just don't know what they have. Even if they have somebody who has a coin knowledge, they're going to miss it. I mean, of all the thousands or tens of thousands or more of coins that I've looked at, even through the scope, I'm sure I've missed stuff. So it's definitely a great idea to buy mint sets and proof sets. And like I've said before, even if you don't find what you're looking for, you can always resell it right back for the same thing that you paid for it, or maybe even a little bit more of a profit. But until next time, guys, I'll probably take a look at the coins again, or the other mint sets, in the next couple of days. But until then, love you guys. Thanks for checking it out, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.